Edwin, this is a rough one. They recently lost their job, struggling with feeling pretty aimless. Do you have any advice for how to handle losing a job and how to stay positive? Um, you know, so I'm a lifelong freelancer. I've had very few jobs. So my experience is going to be very different than yours. But I will tell you that when I was freelance, and now we're back to freelancing lifestyle as a subject, when I was freelance, whenever I did not have an active gig, I still got up at the same time every morning. I benefit from a routine. Have an adult ADHD sufferer, and routine is really paramount for me. I got to put my stuff in the same place every day. I got to take my coat off and got to put my wallet in the same place every day. And when I was freelance, I woke up 8 o'clock every morning, 8:30 every morning, and treated not having a job like having a job. So let's go through my whole database of professional contacts and see, is there anyone that I haven't called recently to find out if there's work? Okay, there's one avenue. Is there another professional contact I might call to find other avenues of work? Are there other industries I haven't considered working in? At one point, I had a long like a 2-week back and forth with a company that made magic illusions in Vegas. And this is in the mid 90s. I thought, I would be pretty useful to that kind of crew. So I wasn't just looking for work in the industry that I was in. I was always looking for how much farther and wider I could cast my net. When you're a model maker, you can get work for film, you can get work for television, you can get work for museums, you can get work for store displays, and you can get really lucrative work making toy prototypes in preparation for Toy Fair, which happens in mid-February every year in New York. That used to be Toy Fair. Prototypes used to be a big part of Jamie Heinemann's income at, I can't answer that. Used to be a big part of Jamie Heinemann's income at M5, and it became a regular part of mine doing toy prototypes and toy booths. That doesn't make it easier to not have work, but it was all I can do. It was all I could do. I treated not having a job as if I had a job, and the job was to go find more work. Good luck, man. I hope it works out. Angelic Nephilim asks, I make stuff for Etsy, but struggle to get actual purchases. How should one go about adjusting prices to encourage purchase without loss of investment of materials and time? Angelic Nephilim, it's your question. I'm making an assumption about your question that you are new to this world of making things, or that you are at the beginning of a journey. So I will tell you that it is really good to be obsessive about the specific plasma pool that you're entering. So let's just say, for instance, that the widget you make for Etsy is some cosplay add-on for a franchise that you like. Let's just say that. I would view it as imperative for you to know everybody else that was making pieces that fit within the same zone and what they were charging and what quality they were giving for what they were charging. That helps you know specifically what the market will bear. Because our time and energy are worth something, but not if everyone is turning out, if everyone's turning out a pair of helmet wings for some franchise helmet for $10, but you make a set that takes you a month with gold leaf and everything, well, certainly you should get paid well for your time, but that doesn't mean that anyone's necessarily going to spend on that. So this is about finding a balance between what the market will bear and what you can contribute to the market. And with experience and notoriety, you can change what the market will bear because people might eventually come to you for your specific solution to that thing. So my first advice would be to get obsessed about who else is in the zone you're in and what they are making, what they are charging, and what they are giving for what that price is. And figure out where you want to be within that range. And whether or not, that also will tell you whether that range is sustainable for you. That's a big one. The other one is to see what is selling. And you can learn that by searching auctions. You can also, this is again about building relationships, right? You build relationships with other people in the same space. You can find out what they're getting. And I'm sure there are different places in the country where different things sell differently. Again, building relationships and learning from your peers about what their experience is invaluable in that. But it begins with a cost-benefit analysis of understanding what the market you're entering is and what it can potentially do. You can really work backwards from like, how much do I need to make from Etsy for it to be worthwhile? That's a pretty noble number, I would guess. I have X amount of hours after my main job to devote to this. Those amount of hours should yield this kind of return for how much of my time and energy it's taking. You don't have to be right about this, but you got to be close to a real actual number. Then figure out how much sales you would need to do that and take a look at what, you know, what the high end and low end people are doing in that space. Oh, these are, I wish I could be more than just one go around with this, because these questions are all really, you know, I recognize these are your lives that you're dealing with. And I really hope that what I'm saying is at all has utility. Martin Seivertson asks, hey, Adam, having worked at ILM and you made a replica prototype of the thermal detonator for master replicas, do you know how the original was weathered? I do. The original has 2 weathering passes. One was as delivered and as they made it for Revenge of the Jedi. The other was it's sitting around in the archives for however long before I took pictures of it, 20 plus years. The original thermal detonator, I believe, is 2 acrylic hemispheres from Plastruct of the correct size, correct dimensions escape me right now. And the panel lines are carved into them with something like a Dremel or a panel scorer. And then it is vacuum metallized. It was sent to a vacuum metallization, which is also called sputtering. And in vacuum metallization, the object is placed in a vacuum chamber, and then a metal is heated to its melting point in that vacuum chamber. And when that happens, when a metal reaches its liquid form in a vacuum chamber, it actually vaporizes immediately. It sputters and coats everything in straight lines from it in like a several angstrom thick coating of that metal. Most often is aluminum, because aluminum gives a shiny chrome-like finish that you can adjust with clear lacquers. And that's like, you buy a trophy at the store that's plastic. You buy plastic models that have chrome parts. That's how they are done. They're sputtered or vacuum metallized. That's how the original thermal detonator is made. And then it was airbrushed with some weathering passes. And then over the years, some of that chrome plating, I say chrome plating, some of that vacuum metallizing plating wore off and made the thermal detonator look even cooler. But that's not the actual paint job from when they were making the film. Those are all the things I know about the thermal detonator. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support us even further, you can by becoming a tested member. Details are, of course, below, but it includes all sorts of perks, and we're building them all the time. You get advanced word and behind-the-scenes photos of some of our projects. Questions, you get to ask direct questions during my live streams, and we have some members-only videos, including the Adam real-time series of unbroken, unedited shots of me working here in the shop. They are weirdly meditative. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one.